Okay, nice guitar. Great question we have in the chat here. Would you set aside a minute to talk to us about your view on guitarists and our seemingly endless search for that one guitar? We play one and it's great, but wait, this other one is even better. Yeah, sure. I mean, you're asking the patient to also be the therapist. That's my situation, because obviously you're describing my situation too. And anyone that's an enthusiast about guitars, cars, watches, really anything. And I think what it is, in a lot of ways, ignorance is bliss, right? If you haven't played on a number of great instruments, then whatever you have, it's impossible to see any issues with it or anything that could be interesting about another instrument. But when you get to try other amazing instruments, even if what you have yourself is great, great in all the statistical ways, like even sustain, even attack, a colorful palette, all the things that, inspire you to play. Even if your guitar is that way to you, when you play another guitar that is of a similar caliper, but of course a different sound or character or, volume, you get this grass is greener effect, I think. And it's actually very hard to sort through because when you play another guitar that is really great, there's always going to be, if it is a great guitar, there's always going to be something that it does better than your current guitar. Even if it does almost everything worse, right? There's going to be something that it does better or sounds better in a certain area. Like, maybe your guitar sounds great down here in open position, but not so great up here in 7th position, 5th position. I'm a noob. But then again, maybe the other guitar is complete opposite, right? Maybe it doesn't sound so great up here, but here it sounds so great. And then you end up sticking to that area and you just fall in love with it. So I think the short answer to your question about about that endless search for one guitar is that there's going to be no finite answer, because if you're comparing great instruments, there's always going to be another quality that shines on another guitar that's going to be impossible to get out of your instrument, either because of the way it's constructed or the goals of the luthier, or just the personality and the sound of the luthier. But I have to say it could be a bit of a disorder too, I think it's, of course, finding an instrument that you're really comfortable and that you really love. In fact, I know a few of the friends that I have here watching the stream are in that position where they play guitars that they really love. It's not to say they don't find flaws in them, but there is a very nice feeling about having an instrument that you really love to play, that you just can't put down. It keeps on inspiring you to play more. That is what the endless search is for. Once you've found that, everything else is just fun and interesting and a learning experience. At least that's how I look at it. Other guitars that I get in, of course, I'll think like, wow, this is exceptional at first. And I might think like, wow, I might only play on this. But then I'll find out that it's great for some things and not great for others. And I'm ultimately happy with it if I stick with it. But once you start comparing it is when you start to feel a little bit, a little bit troubled, I guess. You're like, wow, I don't know. This other one's louder. I don't know. This other one's clearer. For me, it's often a battle of clarity, because especially with a lot of the modern double tops, there are the spectrum of clarity is literally as wide as the earth almost. There are some extremely famous guitars that are less clear, and some extremely famous guitars that are so clear that you detect every little imperfection in your sound. And that whole spectrum is interesting. So for me, it's always a battle like, wait, do I want that clarity, or do I want to get better at guitar, or do I want to get worse? I'm kidding, of course. So hopefully that helps answer your question. But yeah, I really do think that it can be a little bit of a disorder too. You have to be happy with what you have too, and enjoy playing the guitar and practicing and getting better, because as much as I want to sell you guitars, no guitar is going to fix all of your playing problems. It's just, you have to practice. That being said, I have to remember that there's a lot of people watching this that play on guitars that cause them problems, that make it extremely impossible to play. In fact, my former professor, Adam Holzman, when he was teaching us pedagogical practices, talking about, some of the first things that you do with a student. I'll never forget, we had this pedagogy class, and some of the non-majors, some of the non-performance majors would play something, like they would play a piece that they were working on, and then he would call on different people in the class for a different player, and just say, okay, Evan, you handle this. What would you do? And then so, you go up there, and then you treat it like it's your own private lesson. And I remember one of the most valuable ones was, you see someone struggling on the guitar, high action, or, well, I'm jumping the gun here, but you see someone struggling. One of the first things you should do, especially it's a guitar you're not familiar with or a person's instrument you're not familiar with, is take their guitar from them and play it and see if it's playable. Because a lot of people are playing on guitars that are completely unplayable, which is, it's sad. I mean, of course, unplayable. Yeah, you can play on it, but it's terrible, right? Sometimes the action is so high or there's huge intonation problems. And, you could practice so many hours, but if your action is super high, it's going to limit you so much, and you're going to develop injuries and all sorts of things. So having a guitar that's super comfortable in your left hand is very, very important. And I think I'm talking too much here because we have dropped viewership. So if you're watching this after the fact and you enjoyed that little discussion, then let me know. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the clip from the live stream. I would love to hear your thoughts. Have you found the perfect guitar? And if so, what are those qualities that make you feel like it's just perfect for you? And if you haven't, what qualities do you look for when searching for a guitar? And what do you think makes the biggest difference? Is it the sound? Is it the way it feels? I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tune into the live streams every Tuesday, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.